Hello everyone, Jacquie Edwards here for Live at Lunchtime. It's a beautiful Monday. Hope you're ready for a great week ahead. I think this is pretty much, let me just look at my diary here. Yeah, we're getting really close to Christmas, so we're 2 weeks basically from Christmas right now. So hopefully you're getting excited, and yeah, that also means then we're 3 weeks from the end of 2016, which is probably even more important because this is kind of the key time to be putting together your plan and getting your business ready for 2017. But that's not what we're talking about today. So right now is also a key time we've found the seasonality of our property market. So loads of tenants are not moving around right now. So if you are looking to fill any rooms at the moment, or if you're looking to do research as to what is the right area for you, so if you're doing any kind of research on spare room right now, be aware that the statistics and the data might be skewed a bit at the moment because the tenancy market is generally, in most areas, very, very slow over the next few months. So generally December, kind of January, February tend to be our slowest periods for tenants moving in and out. We tend to still get quite a lot of viewings because there are still tenants that are looking around, but there's a lot less of them. And there's generally still a few rooms available, so the fewer tenants have basically more options available to them. So we find they're doing more viewings, they're not ready to commit to a room right away, and yeah, things just take a little bit longer to get filled up. So when you're doing kind of your planning and doing any analysis, be really aware of the seasonality in your business. If you're looking to take on new rent-to-rent projects over the next, few weeks or few months, be aware that it can take longer than normal to fill the rooms. So start to think of what you can be doing to make tenants make the decision to choose your room more quickly. So whether you're offering any special offers. So this time of year I tend to look at reducing deposits. And you'll want to be careful of this. For us, lots of times we don't take deposits, and we use deposits as a negotiating tool because we've never kept any of our tenants' deposits, just because we reference them. They tend not to cause any issues, leave with big rent arrears. So we use it as a negotiating point. If you decrease the deposit, that's less money they have to come up with up front, and it can make your room look better and more inviting. The other thing is working on your decorations. So we've had a room that it's in one of our newer houses. We started doing some viewings when the old tenants were living in there. Then we've just completely refurbed the room, but we're still having trouble renting it. So we had somebody staying short term for just a couple of weeks, while we were still doing some viewings to find a long-term tenant, but we haven't found any. So we're trying to figure out what we can do to make that room look more inviting. So we're working on changing the furniture around a little bit, changing the bedding, just because we want to try to make it look as inviting as possible. So this time of year you might need to do a lot more thinking, be a lot more creative around how you're getting tenants into your funnel. So also, are you getting enough spare room responses from potential interested tenants? Because generally you have to do quite a few viewings before somebody decides to move in. So you want to make sure you've got a steady stream of people that want to do viewings. If you're not getting lots of inquiries through, are you going through and chasing people and seeing who's looking for rooms, and if they would, and just going directly to them instead of waiting for them to send you a message? You can do that using spare room. It's also making sure you've got ads out in as many places as possible. Most of the time for us, just having ads on spare room works perfectly well, and we get all of our rooms filled. This time of year we start putting some on Gumtree as well. We might use Open Rent and some of the other tools that are out there just to start listing our rooms and getting them out to a wider audience. So there's lots of things that you can be doing to make sure that you're filling your properties. especially this time of year when things are a lot slower. I also highly recommend having like an advertising flyer, or I mean, it's something we just print off of just like the at-home printer that has a couple of photos of the room, the price of the room, a little bit of information about it, and how they can reserve it. So this way, when you go to the viewings, you can give that to the tenant as they, or the potential tenant as they go away. So if they don't want to make the decision right then to take the room, they've got something to look at and think about and take home with them. Most landlords and agents, they don't do that for room viewings. So if you're giving that out to your potential tenants, you're just going to be one step ahead of the competition. After that tenant is looked at, 5 or 6 different places in one day, lots of them are going to blend together. They're not going to remember where they were, what they were doing. If they pull out your little flyer and they say, oh, I remember that room. Yeah, look, it looks awesome. Oh yeah, it's really easy to reserve. I'm going to take it now. So it just makes things easier. And yes, they do work. Especially if you have kind of an easy step-by-step process on the back that says here's exactly how you reserve the room and what you need to do to reserve it. So again, just a couple pictures on the front. It's more of just a reminder for them to go away with. A couple pictures on the front with the price of the rental and any kind of special terms or special deals that you're doing. And then on the back, the process for how they reserve it and what they need to do. So I found that works quite well. And it's just doing everything possible to get as many people through the door and making your property look as nice as possible. So maybe you need some flowers in there, make sure your curtains, make sure the lighting looks nice, make sure the rooms around it are clean and tidy. With shared houses, it can often be difficult to make sure, none of the other tenants have left a mess behind and they've gone out for the day. But if you get to the viewing maybe 10 minutes early and just have a chance to tidy up a little bit, make sure everything looks neat and tidy and clean and has a nice smell. Sometimes some tenants can be a bit smelly. Then you'll just be that one step ahead and making sure that you're presenting your property in the best place possible. How do I add extra value? In what way, Haseen? How do we add extra value to our rooms, our properties? Let me know what you're asking and I'll answer that question in a bit more detail. Great. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to ask them as we're going along. But yeah, for adding value, I would say price is probably one of the first thing tenants are looking at. So again, I try not to reduce my rent, but by reducing the deposit amount, I can tend to give tenants a better deal so they're paying less up front. You can add an extra week, so maybe the first week's free if they move in before a certain date. So that just gets somebody kind of committed a bit sooner than they might be. So maybe they weren't looking for a room till the 1st of January, but your room is free now. So if you say, well, if you reserve the room, this week, we'll give you the first week for free. So they're not really spending much more than they would, but you've got the commitment earlier. Parking is another one. So if you've got parking at the property, oftentimes, because parking's quite tight in Oxford, we'll charge our tenants an extra £20 per month for parking in the driveway, offering that for free instead of for payment as a whole package. So other ways to add value, we tend to have the highest speed internet possible, and it's making sure to really point out these things. So point out that you've got high internet speed. So we've got 200 megabyte Virgin Media broadband. We've got a cleaner that goes to the property twice a month and does all the communal areas, and then pointing out the benefit to the tenant, which means to them they don't have to have a cleaning rota. So they still have to clean up after themselves, but they don't have to worry about cleaning up after their housemates. They don't have to worry about everything getting out of control. We've got a gardener that comes in on a regular basis. Some of our properties we do have TV included with it, so we don't use Sky, we generally go with Virgin. So some of them have TV packages, most of them don't. Lots of our tenants don't really ask for that. Most of them with the super high speed internet, they're just streaming TV from their laptop, so having the high speed internet is the most important thing, with a cleaner quite closely following, because again, they don't want to be cleaning up after all of their housemates' messes. So hopefully that helps. It's also helping them understand who else is living in the property with them. So oftentimes when we're doing viewings, we can't make sure all of the housemates are going to be home. We can't be able to introduce them to everybody. But if you know a bit about the people that are living in the property, as you're talking to the potential tenant, understanding a bit about themselves, you can say, oh, so-and-so that lives here does something similar. Oh, they're very interested in this type of thing. Oh, this is the age group of the people that are living here, the nationalities, that type of thing, just so that they can start to see the other people are like them and that, you know, that this is a place that they'll be comfortable living. So hopefully that's helped. I've got to get off now. I'm heading to Birmingham tonight. I am going to a training course tomorrow. I am going to be hosting a PIN meeting, or I'm going to be co-hosting the Oxford PIN meeting, so I've got to get trained up on how to use all the systems there. So I'm off to that for the next couple of days, so live at lunchtime probably won't happen Tuesday or Wednesday. It depends on when our lunch break is. I might pop on. But otherwise I'll for sure be back on Thursday. So have a wonderful week, and yeah, thank you for joining, and I'll see you soon.